What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Nuel from Forging Strength. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications to get updates anytime we drop new content. And if you like this video, make sure you like this video. Let's get right into it. Today I'll be talking about 3 top tips for muscle building. My 3 top tips for building muscle mass and putting on lean tissue. Okay, as of recent, I've been putting on some size. I've been training really hard, and it dawned on me as I was making coffee today to talk about some of the things or the mindset behind some of the strategies that I've adopted as I'm going through, this muscle building phase. And the first point I would like to iterate is the fact that you must prioritize progression-centered resistance training routine. Okay, you must make sure that your resistance training routine is centered on some kind of model of progression. So it could be progression with regards to the weights that you're using to lift, progression with regards to the reps or the set scheme. Point being, you need to get stronger in some capacity. You need to get better over the course of time in some capacity, especially if you're doing it naturally. If you're going to be a lifetime natural trainee, you're going to have to focus on improving your lifts over time. And that's the reason why it's much better to focus on compound lifts, because they're easy to track and they are, a better metric of gauging progress over time, because the execution of those exercises are the same and whatnot. And so progression is very important. Your training has to be centered around that, because imagine if you are bench pressing 135 pounds for 10 reps, and over the course of 6 months, you're able to get that to 205 for the same amount of reps with the same form. If you keep the form the same, you keep the cadence the same, you keep the eccentric and concentric movements the same, your chest is not going to be the same size. Guaranteed that you are actually eating enough protein, you are doing the other points that I'm going to be listing in this video, and you are making sure that your diet is on point, you are going to grow. It's a stimulus. Your body is going to have to adapt to the amount of stress that you're putting on it progressively. So that brings me back to that first point, that your training has to be progression centered. You need to get stronger as a natural athlete or a natural trainee in order for you to reap the rewards of muscle building. And so what I typically tell people to do is to pick 3 to 4 compound lifts. Okay, 3 to 4 compound lifts that you like training with. Okay, pick 3 to 4 of those. For me, for example, my compound lifts that are mostly staples in my routine are the bench press in some capacity. It could be either close grip bench press, it could be a Larsen press, it could be a regular bench press. Okay, but bench press in some capacity. And then barbell squats. I love to squat. If you see my recent video, I just did 315 for 15 reps on the barbell squat. And the third one would probably be some sort of shoulder press variation. So I like the overhead press, the standing barbell overhead press, or what I've been doing recently, which is the seated dumbbell press. Okay, if you're able to get these insanely strong, okay, you are definitely going to see changes in your physique over the course of time. So try that out. Track your lifts also. Make sure that you're tracking your lifts and steadily progressing. Okay, go to your phone's notepad, the notepad section in your phone, key in the exercise you're executing, and then key in the sets and rep scheme. And over the time, try to steadily increase the amount of reps and sets and the weight that you're doing for those exercises. The second point is to track your nutrition intake, your calorie intake, to ensure that you are in a slight calorie surplus and at the same time maintain a clean eating, wholesome, nutritious food diet. It's important that when you're bulking, you eat clean to mitigate whatever fat gain or accrual might happen over the time. Now the thing is, if you are eating in a surplus, regardless of how hard you're training and whatnot, you are still going to gain some amount of fat. Okay, you're still going to put on some fat, which is normal, because the end goal is what you have in mind. You're trying to put on muscle mass. You could always go back into a deficit later on and get the fat off if you need to. But if you are going to focus strictly on muscle building, if you're going to go through a muscle building phase, you have to accept whatever fat gain is going to come on. But then you can mitigate it by making sure that your nutrition is centered around wholesome foods. If you're not dirty bulking and eating burgers and fries every day, which is not bad, every once in a while you can do that, okay? I practice the 80-20 form of eating, okay? It's important that 20% of the time you let loose a bit, but most of the time you're on track. You have to ensure that you're eating healthy and giving your body a chance, okay, to actually partition these nutrients appropriately, and to ensure that most of these nutrients are partitioned for muscle gaining purposes, okay? So what you need to do is track your nutrition, ensure that you're eating in a slight surplus, ensure that you're eating wholesome foods, okay? And still be meticulous about your intake. Still be meticulous. A lot of people disregard their calorie intake when they're bulking. They just think they need to eat anyhow and just chill because they're bulking. But you know, that is a wrong way to see things. Most people tend to be more strict when they are losing fat, but they let loose when they are bulking. Okay, I feel like the same approach should apply. When you're cutting, you are laser focused on keeping the calories in check. When you're bulking, the same thing applies. Do not break the routine that you're using to cut fat when you're bulking, or when you're trying to bulk or gain lean muscle mass. Keep the routine the same. All you need to do is adjust the calorie intake slightly, such that you're eating 200 to 300 calories above what your body would consider maintenance. And so that will put you in the best spot to actually partition most of that calorie addition or calorie intake to gaining muscle, rather than spilling over and gaining a bunch of fat and having to cut 20 pounds later, 3 months later, and all of that. My final tip will be to prioritize sleep. Prioritize sleep for a few reasons, okay? The first one is that most of the recovery, if not all of the recovery that you're going to go through after your resistance training sessions is going to happen during sleep, okay? And proper recovery equals muscle gain, muscle building, okay? Muscle repair from the damage and the micro tears you might have put it through at the gym. That's number one. The second one is that proper sleep would actually enhance your performance in the gym. If you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours every night, you're going to mostly feel refreshed when you wake up. Your stress level is going to be down, which is going to put you in a muscle building environment at the end of the day. Your performance in the gym is going to skyrocket. If you're sleeping adequately 8 hours every night, okay, you are going to notice that you will be considerably stronger in the gym. You're going to perform better, your lifts will go up, your stress levels will be down. And so sleep is the last point I would like to make sure that you focus on nailing down, because everything else is going to work. But if you're able to nail down the sleeping routine, ensuring that your sleep is 7 to 8 hours, you are setting yourself up for success with regards to putting on muscle and building lean tissue, okay? So basically, to recap, the first point was that make sure that you prioritize a progression-centered resistance training routine. The second point was that you should track your nutrition even when you're bulking or trying to gain muscle, and center most of that nutrition around wholesome, healthy, whole foods, okay? And the last point was prioritize sleep. Ensure that you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night to ensure adequate recovery and to give your body a fighting chance to build muscle and get you to your end goal. But if you need help putting all these together, if you're not sure about how to properly execute, reach out to me at Nuel_forging strength on Instagram, and let's get talking and get you exactly where you want to be. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get updates when we drop new content. See you in the next one. Peace.